Hi everyone. Today I'm going to answer a question that was made to me many times. How on earth did I start with my blog of silent films? I started with the Silent Beauties blog in October 2010, and it was just something to pass the time because back then I wasn't satisfied with a job I had and I needed some distraction in my free time. It was something quite unpretentious. And then, after a while, things took a proportion that I could never imagine. But this is not the point. Usually, our hobbies start in an unpretentious way, and my story isn't different from the story of everyone else. The point here is how healthy and fulfilling it is to have a hobby and to start researching about something that you like a lot. In my case, the choice for silent films wasn't surprising because I have always loved history, and it would be just natural if I started a blog about something history related. And it's very interesting when people devote themselves to a subject, when they start researching about it, because it's a very interesting way to make new friends. You meet other people who have the same tastes, who like to research about a specific subject. Another point is that if you are researching about a subject, you can use all sorts of social media. You can have a YouTube channel, you can have a Facebook page, and whatever. All kinds of social networks that you know. You can use all of them, some of them, or just one of them. Or you can even not use internet at all. You can have your research, you can do that at home by hand and collecting things. So the possibilities are endless, and it's something very interesting once you start doing it. Another point is that if you are researching about a subject, if you want to go deeper into that, always help people. Don't use that to play the specialist, to become known, to have some kind of fame. Don't do that. Always have in mind that usually we are not the owners of those materials, that people need to help each other to make a broad database about that subject. So forget about the idea of using that to have some kind of fame or to feed a vanity. It's not worth it. Another point is that if you have a blog, a YouTube channel, or whatever, if you are working with the internet, with social media, don't be anxious to post all the time. Because, of course, everyone understands that we have our own lives, we work, we do our stuff, and this is something that to do in our free time. It is a hobby. So we are not supposed to post all the time. Another problem of doing so is that many people start in their hobbies in a very enthusiastic way and then they give up after a while. Something interesting is to find a pace that you will have that is more or less constant and that you can keep. If you can only post something in every 6 months, once a year, don't worry. People will keep on reading you. If you are relevant, if you have content, people will keep reading you. And even if no one reads you, you know that the work you are doing, it organizes your knowledge. So don't worry about your audience, if you have a big audience or not, if people will read you or find you relevant or not. This is not the point. Always see your online work as a way of organizing your knowledge inside your mind. If there are fellow fans or fellow people who like the same thing, who read you, who are always there, great. If there's no one, there is no problem. This is something very, very nice. Another point is that depending on the subject that you are dealing with, try to go to real life events. For example, if you are a cinema fan, try to go to the cinema, try to attend some screenings. Of course, some people live in quite isolated places and they don't have access to things, and it's all right. If you don't have access, there's no problem. But if you live, for example, in a bigger city and you can watch something, just do it. If you are writing about history, if you are dealing with history, try to go to a museum, to a library, and to research things out of internet too, to deal with what we call in history with the primary sources, because it's a way of meeting people in the real life. So you can use your hobby to increase your group of friends, and you can also have access to knowledge in a more dynamic way. It always helps. But once again, if you don't have access to any real life event, don't worry. Nowadays, it's very interesting because people usually complain that nowadays the world is like this, the world is like that we don't have any possibility anymore, and blah, 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 blah. But when it comes to work with things that we like, to research about things, to have access to information, we actually live in a golden era because of the internet. And not only to research things in the internet, but to have access to people that we would never ever meet. This is very interesting too. Another point is that just do your postings, your videos, or whatever. Just engage in this hobby when you feel like to. Don't force yourself. If you are having a difficult phase in your life, if you are having problems, if you are not feeling well, don't do anything. Just take care of yourself, and then you will return when you return. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't be too perfectionist. You will write about things, you will make your videos, and of course you are not a scholar, a lecturer, or a specialist, and you are not supposed to be. You are just an enthusiast about a subject, and you are doing your best. And probably your audience will be made up of people who are fans who like a subject, and they are doing things in a very informal way. And it's this informal way that makes everything worthwhile. Because as long as you keep your enthusiasm about what you're doing, this is what makes all difference. Because sometimes the most interesting writings and the most relevant findings, they were made by fans. They were made by people who were not scholars, but they were people who were enthusiastic about something. They decided to go deeper, and it's this enthusiasm that will keep you going. So never lose that. If you need to pause things for a while, just do it, and you can be sure that you'll return much stronger than before. Another point is that if you want to go deeper into a specific subject, choose something that you truly like. Don't choose something because people are talking about it all the time. Don't choose that because it's on the media nowadays. Choose what you like because you like. As I've said previously, internet is not the only way. You can do things totally by yourself. You can have your own material at home. You don't need to write about things. You can make videos, you can make drawings, whatever. The possibilities are endless. If you are working with the internet and you want to choose a social media, don't work a social media because it's the most popular. For example, oh, I have to make videos for YouTube. Excuse me, do you like to make videos? Do you feel comfortable to appear on screen? Do you feel that editing videos is something that you can do easily? If not, try another social media. Some people like Facebook, but they think that in Facebook people write too much, sometimes they argue too much, and it's alright. You don't need to be on Facebook. Oh, but it's the most popular media. Okay, but if you are not comfortable there, you will not stay because you will end up not writing there anymore. You will be fed up. Don't do that. The point is trying to keep your enthusiasm so you don't give up what you're doing altogether. So you can do that in a rhythm that will make you calm, that will make you relaxed. Because the best thing that we can have once we are devoting ourselves to a subject is knowing that it's worth it. Okay, we may not get any money with that, and it may be something totally different from our profession, but it's fulfilling. We feel well, and this is the feeling that we must keep. That in the end of the day, after all effort, after all work, you feel good, you relaxed, you forgot about the stresses of your life, that you could know nice people, that you could learn. This is what matters. And the enthusiasm and this feeling of that things are worth doing, they will keep you going. So don't worry about anything else. I know that nowadays, especially in the internet, we feel the pressure of being productive all the time. And if we are not productive, we feel guilty. But don't worry. Remember, you are not a scholar. A scholar must write about something all the time. He must have a defined production pace. You don't need to. If you want to produce very frequently, okay. But if you will not produce anything frequently, it's all right too. Remember, it's your hobby, it's your satisfaction, it's your learning. Also, try to answer how on earth I'm going to archive my files, how I'm going to archive my data. It doesn't matter if it's digital data or paper data. How will you keep all this information together? If you are mostly working online, try to have your own library of links. There are free applications that do that for you. Don't keep your links within the social media. For example, there are many interesting links that you have on your Facebook page. No, don't keep it there. Try to store those links somewhere else, either through an online application or within a file or in an external hard disk, whatever. But try to keep your links somewhere. Another point is that you can choose. Will you have your own library about the subject or not? About library, I mean hardcover books, paper books, books that you can hold. Will you have your own books about the subject, or is it not necessary? If you will have your own books about the subject, try to make a list about those books and try to choose that. Try to buy the cheaper books first, and then you leave the more expensive books to be bought when you have some extra money. This is an interesting thing because it avoids frustration. You have your own list of books, your wish list, Amazon and other websites, they give you an opportunity for people to have their own wish lists. You can use that, or you can write on a piece of paper, but organize what books do you want, which books you can afford immediately, which books you cannot afford immediately. If hardcover books are not necessary, try to store your links, try to store your photos or whatever. Of course, you are not going to infringe any copyrights or anything of the sort. You are not going to use that anywhere else or to keep data that doesn't belong to you that are under copyrights. The point is that organize the information. Don't keep your information in the social media. Because what if you lose your Facebook page? What if you lose your YouTube channel? What if you lose your Instagram? What will happen with all your information? You need to have an alternative way of having access to those things. Perhaps it can be a good idea to have some summaries of information. You can summarize books, you can summarize interesting information that you find on a website, because by doing so, even if you lose all your digital data, they can be more or less accessible through ordinary papers. It helps too. Once more, don't underestimate the importance of social interaction. Don't withhold information. Usually, you will not be the owner of those materials. When you interact with people who like the same thing as you, who research about the same thing as you, share information at all moments, because then the information will circulate. Today you give information, tomorrow you receive information. Today you help, tomorrow you will be helped. This is something that happens naturally, and sometimes the best way to obtain new information to solve problems is asking somebody else who is doing the same thing. And if you are seen as a loyal, as a reliable person, it will be much more likely that other people will help you, will support your research. Again, a hobby, something that you informally research, should not be seen as an instrument of vanity, of fame, or whatever. Peer-to-peer knowledge is very important. It's underestimated sometimes, but it's very, very important. And a hobby also has this role. And it becomes part of your life. It becomes part of your routine. It's much more easy for you to organize yourself, to include things in your routine, when you can take a look at what other people are doing, how they do that, and then you show them how you do things. Knowledge is much better and it's much more fulfilling when it circulates. It's frequent that in all areas of the either in and out of the so-called academia, it's very, very common that research are hindered because people don't share information, because they try to have some sort of aura as if they knew better than others. Don't do that. Don't do that. And especially organize things. Okay, I like a subject. What I'm going to read about it, which kind of information I want, how I'm going to access those information, how often, how I'm going to keep those information. Do I want digital media only or digital media and hardcover books? Hardcover books are always interesting. They belong to you. They will not disappear. They will not have any mechanical defect. They will not have anything of the sort. But if you don't think it's necessary or don't want hardcover books, it's okay. But keep your data. no matter what. If you think it's necessary, an external hard disk, get one. Keep things there. Just think, okay, if I lose all my information in a place, can I have access to that through another place? It's not easy to access information, and but you need to archive things to organize that. By doing so, I'm sure that your enthusiasm will remain, that it doesn't matter how long you pause your activities, it will always return because you know it's worth it. It will not be an effort to you, it will be a pleasure, it will be a way to fill your free time with good things. And even if you don't earn any money with that, even if it's not your work, you can be sure that you have other types of reward that are as important, because you will learn, you will know, you will get to know other people, you will have totally different experiences that you wouldn't have in your routine. So keep going. Don't push yourself too much. Don't be too perfectionist. Everyone is learning. If you think that what you said or wrote is wrong and that nowadays you know better, fix it. He write that, he do the video, but don't give up, because that's how it works. We are learning. We did something in the past, and nowadays we think, that information is more accurate. Okay, just go for that. Just get your old text, your old video, or whatever. Redo that. It's usually a very, very fast process. It will not require too much effort from you. We are learning. It's a process. And if you don't earn money with that, it's a bless, really, because you're not supposed to follow any schedule. You don't have any pressure. Enjoy those benefits. And believe me, sometimes the most fulfilling hobbies, they start in a very, very unpretentious, humble way. Once you like things, once you engage with pleasure, you can do everything you want. It's not a stereotype or an empty sentence. It happens. Try to get involved with that, and you will see that you'll never ever leave that subject behind. I hope it could help you all. That's my history with silent films. And yes, it's not something extraordinary or out of this world. This is how things started. I could never imagine that 10 years later I would still be here talking about silent films and researching about silent films. And the same reasoning can be applied to any subject as long as you love it. Goodbye, folks.